King Henry's speech had a matinee showing, The Hill has eyes for fantasy MVP, and Fields of Dreams gets one thumb down and one thumb probably off a little to the side, I guess.
Yeah, feeling good on a Wednesday. Sparkling.
Hope you're doing good for a Wednesday. My name is Byron Cobalt from byron-cobalt.com, and this is the Fantasy Games 1 Week 6 React. What? The Fantasy Games 1 Week 6 recap and reaction. I'm just calling it a reaction for some reason. This is the Week 6 something or other. With 6 weeks in the books, if you're 0-6, I would totally get if it was time for you to pack it in, to lay down and just accept your fate. Well, hopefully that's not the case. If you're 1-5, I actually did come back. Yes, I did. It's possible to come back and win a league from 1-5. I've done it once. I did it back in 2021. A few things have to go your way, but most importantly, if you want to come back and win, you can't do anything wrong. You can't get the easy stuff wrong. You have to get the fundamentals right. And that's why I've released another video this week called the Cobalt Cadence. You can check it out right here assuming I uploaded it in time. The Cobalt Cadence is a weekly schedule. If you want to win your fantasy league in under an hour a week, you can get all the basics right. And that's what I run through the Cobalt Cadence. Go all the way from box score Monday to sneaky Sunday. So check that video out if you can't afford to lose at all the rest of the year. That'll make sure to maximize your chances. If you're 1-5, you probably don't have the leader for week 6, but let's go see who actually won week 6.
I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
All right, who won week 6? Raheem Mostert. Raheem Must-Start. I've been going with Raheem Mustard. If you're like I was, enjoying Sunday while having a hot dog or 2 or 3, hope you got some extra Mostert on those hot dogs. I'm sure someone will come up with a better pun eventually there. Must-Start's a pretty good one, though. If you just took Dolphins this year, your team would probably be pretty competitive. Raheem Mostert also sneaky fast. People don't think of an over 30-year-old running back or a guy who was basically a rookie when he was 29. He got his first real running back work at 29 to be one of the fastest guys in the league. He's legitimately one of the fastest guys in the league. Him and Devin Achane, either one of them. If you didn't get your Dolphin as Raheem Mostert, hopefully you had Tyreek Hill. Yeah, he's good. Cooper Kupp, also very good. It appears that Cooper Kupp is back. Amon-Ra St. Brown with his best week of the year. He's past Cole Kmet in the board game namesake power rankings this year. Glad that Travis Etienne didn't immediately make me regret saying he was going to be good. I'm not really in the business of making predictions right now. Fantasy Games 1 is really more of a recap column than anything else. But I'll remember the ETM props. I'm not going to start keeping track of them, though, because it'll probably take me under 1 week, about half a week for me to really regret trying to make predictions for fantasy football. I'll tell you that much. Adam Thielen on the Fantasy Games 1 winners. He's getting moved up from the JV squad. He's up to now 76% started. Adam Thielen, he's super, super solid this year. So I bet the Vikings wish they still had him. Kylo Ren Williams with an awesome game followed by an injury. I'm not going to lie. I was a little bit nervous as a Kyron Williams owner that he was just going to fall off here just because he was kind of getting volume because there's no one else there for the Rams. Now that he finally establishes it, he gets hurt. So, yeah, that's fantasy for you. One thing I'll notice about the winners for week 6, Breece Hall made the top 15 with 0.08 Fantasy Games 1. That's a pretty low number to make the top list. 17 points, 83% started. That's good, but that's usually not one of the weekly winners. It shows kind of how much of a rough or strange week it was in the NFL. All right, let's go to the losers for week 6. James Cook in the 15 spot for the losers of the week. Something about Latavius Murray. Coaches just love putting Latavius Murray out there. They keep showing up in places like he was on the Saints and just all of a sudden just leapfrogged a bunch of other promising backs in the depth chart, and then he gets cut in the offseason. How many more stops is Latavius Murray going to make where you have to kind of pick him up in fantasy? I mean, he did the same thing with the Broncos. I don't understand the love coaches have with Latavius Murray. He must be a really charming guy or something, in the practice field, I guess. Maybe on the sideline. He's just really good at positioning himself near the coach. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just speculating here. I don't have any other explanation for how much work Latavius Murray gets, especially when James Cook was okay this year so far. Gabe Davis, a bit of a callback to last year. I strongly believe that he needs to go by Gabriel Davis if he's going to reach his full potential. Gabe isn't as great of a football name as Gabriel Davis. Say it ain't so, Puka. Looks like Koopa has taken it back from Puka, Koopa Troopa. Puka Trupa? Koopa Puka. The one thing I'll probably remember the most from Calvin Ridley this year is just how much Booger McFarlane talked about him during the Toy Story game. Kept saying, like, they got to get Calvin Ridley the ball, he got the touchdown. I was like, there's only one of 2 catches in the game. It became like a big talking point while they were trying to kill time while there were technical difficulties when, like, that football got relocated, like, to the corner of the end zone on the first play when it wasn't really there. Yeah, that stuck with me. That memory is etched into my brain for some reason. Especially Booger's big head. David Montgomery got hurt because he fell on the ball weirdly. I'm assuming it must have been the pointy end of the football to, like, damage his ribs. I guess that's possible. You need to get Tom Brady in here to deflate that football a bit. And Justin Fields. This is rough. It shows you how much, if you have a quarterback that gets hurt in fantasy, they can just completely submarine you. Like 82% started, almost still got 5 points still. It's just, the average point score for quarterbacks is so high, you just cannot afford to get them, that they can get hurt. Running quarterbacks are actually kind of like a double-edged sword in that way, where they have huge upside because they can be a quarterback and a running back effectively on your team. But they're more injury-prone, so you'll get those occasional weeks where it's just, they're pulled out in the first half, and that's all you got. Feel bad for our Justin Fields owners. I have Justin Fields on a few teams. It's not great. Let's move over to the JV All-Stars. These are the players that have done the best, well, probably on your bench. The Minnesota defense, apparently getting extra points for how many thumbs they collect, referring to Justin Fields' thumb. Good number of kickers and defenses on the list this week, so that means the kickers that did well weren't the ones you expected to do well, although I think Justin Tucker did turn it around a bit. Rashid Shaheed, actually with the best week of all the skill players from a JV perspective. Dalton Schultz trying to move up the Dalton power rankings. He's got to fend off Dalton Kincaid now. He's getting closer to Andy Dalton. Buddy Schultz, again, that's another callback to last year. I come from a family where there's a familial line of Daltons, and they all go by Buddy. So I'll call him Buddy Schultz. So I just call people things. I'm from New Jersey. I just call people names that they don't even necessarily agree to, but it's a sign of endearment. So Buddy's creeping up on Andy in the Dalton power rankings.
Andy went to pieces.
Andy went to pieces?
No! Andy was the navigator. He was all right. Buddy went to pieces.
Although they're still way behind Timothy Dalton, presumably. Jared Goff still at 14% started. His percent started actually going down. Unless it's actually a trick question, and like the sun, it's not really going down. That whole exchange is the reason to never start Jared Goff, so I get it. Adam Thielen actually with double duty here, so he took the bus over from the JV game to the varsity game. He was warming up Devin Achan's seat. Let's go see how the leaderboards are shaping up. Tyreek Hill has had a better month than a lot of players will have in a season. Tyreek Hill now with a good gap between him and Christian McCaffrey, also with ribs that have required closer inspection, I guess obliques. His oblique, the Christian McCaffrey's obliques are keeping him out of the top spot here. We'll see if Tyreek keeps it or if he has a couple weeks where he doesn't do that much. I swear, Jalen Waddle has to get a good week in here. He's got to have like a 40-point game in him. This is the Dolphins. They're scoring like 47 points per game or something. Feels like they're scoring that much. Stephon Diggs and Keenan Allen officially ahead of Justin Jefferson. Actually, Stephon Diggs was already there. Keenan Allen now hopping over Jefferson on the season MVP leaderboard. Raheem Mostert up to the number 2 running back, or clearly now the number 2 running back, over Kenneth Walker is the number 3. Someone asked me a question last season when Kenneth Walker first started playing, asking about K9, and I really didn't know who K9 was. I kind of assumed it was Kenneth Walker, because I didn't know what number he was at the time. I don't know who else it would have been, but yeah, his nickname is K9. Amon Ra finally on the MVP leaderboard. Justin Herbert has backed his way into the top QB spot. Not a lot of great QB play this year. It's a very meh year for quarterbacks. A slight change to the order this week. I'm going to go right from MVP to the return on investment leaderboard just to show how similar or different they are, because it's a better comparison instead of jumping back and forth between good players and bad players. We just did good players. Now let's do good players adjusted for draft slot. Dallas defense still top 6 once you adjust for the fact that they are drafted as a defense. Buffalo at number 7, passing Jake Elliott, who had a down game, but still playing like a first-round pick. Yeah, I played against a team that has both Dallas and Jake Elliott, and I lost to them this week. Not the week you wanted to lose to them. And here we go with Justin Jefferson's about to fall off the list. That's a shame. Moving over to the more somber leaderboards. Here's first the Brady Wedding Ring LVP, or Least Valuable Player leaderboard. Justin Fields now making his presence known after a couple good weeks, too. He's down to negative 0.27 after getting negative 0.26 just in the last week alone. Bit of a roller coaster with Justin Fields. Roller Coaster Tycoon is not a game you need to play with your thumbs, though. Maybe it fits. Historically, the LVP list is usually dominated by wide receivers. But look at this. 10 of the 14 least valuable players are all running backs this year. You got 10 running backs, a couple quarterbacks who have, on bad games, quarterbacks can go pretty low. And T. Higgins, 2023, the year of the walking back. Now, the disappearance of investment leaderboard.
And it's gone.
I don't know what's going on with my logo here where it keeps creeping closer to the name every week. Drake London, consistently just not as good as you'd hope he would be. Nick Chubb, with that big ADP slot of 7 sticking out there. Yeah, he might fall. I don't know if he's going to fall to the bottom by the end of the season. 0.56, negative 0.9 per week. Yeah, if people start benching Joe Burrow and Najee Harris, they're going to start showing up as replacement players. So I don't think Chubb is going to pass them on this leaderboard. He could if they have a few good weeks in there. I'm really curious what everyone's going to do with Najee this week. I don't know what his percent start number is going to be, but he's too talented to not consider playing him. Given how the state of the running back position is, he might get some more starts than he probably has earned so far. Steelers also supposed to be getting Deontay Johnson back, so not in the business of predicting things. Quickly peek on over to the all-time leaderboard. 2 new additions. We have Keenan Allen now on the all-time board. I actually think he was on the all-time leaderboard earlier in the season. Maybe he wasn't. Amon-Ra St. Brown on the all-time leaderboard. Welcome to the purple list. Tyreek Hill also moving up. He's the only one that moved more than one slot outside of our newbies, up to number 4 all time. His 2023 is already better than half of this list did in 2021 or 2022. If he didn't play the rest of the season, it would still be a solid season for Fantasy Games 1. And with a stat for week 6, Raheem Mostert has a Fantasy Games 1 number of 0.64, which is greater than every other positive player drafted between DJ Moore's draft slot at number 52 overall and Greg Dulcich at 120. So he's helped you more than any one other combination of players you could have gotten, even if you only got the good ones. That's how absurd a value Raheem Mostert has been. Week 6 swims with the Dolphins. Hopefully you're swimming with Raheem Mostert. Like I said at the jump, if you need some help, I got the schedule for you to make sure you don't miss any of the easy stuff. Hopefully you can turn your season around. You don't decide to follow the Cobalt Cadence, or you do and it just doesn't work out for you. Just remember, we're all in this sinking ship of a fantasy football game together. Hope you consider subscribing, and if you do, definitely see you next Wednesday.
That's it.